I was riding through the pasture with Ralph Hager, and I was on a young colt. I'd kind of cinched him up, not real tight. I didn't tear him in two or anything like that, but I just kind of snugged him up, and we got out there, and we trotted some circles and everything like that, and he was kind of humpy still after about, if y'all don't know what that is, that means he's thinking like he wants to buck you off, okay? Remember that, Jason. Trying to get the vocabulary down. His horse was pretty humpy, and so anyway, I decided to step off and tighten up the cinch a little bit more in case here in a minute, because it never gets easier. We keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and then when they get it right, we stop. But I wanted to be sure that I had a fair chance in this deal, because he weighed just a little bit more than I did, and he was a lot stronger than I was. So I go to step off the horse, and I knew something was wrong when I felt a dragon bite me on the bottom of the foot. What I thought to be a dragon was actually about a 3-inch dried out mesquite thorn that went up through the bottom of my boot and into the ball of my foot. And I went, Ralph, because it hurt real bad. It's okay to cry. Toughest guys cry, especially when they got a freaking lance in your foot. No, I didn't cry. Ralph, could you come here for a minute? He rode over there and he's like, what? I said, Ralph, it hurts. And he goes, ow. So anyway, Ralph gets off his horse and he grabs my foot like a horseshoer. He got my foot right here, and he always carried one of those Leathermans. And he gets it out, and okay, I know. I heard it from Ralph. I don't want to hear it from y'all. I was wearing rubber-soled boots, and that's a no-no. It's okay for walking on concrete, but it's not okay for sticking thorns in your feet. And so he gets his Leatherman, he's going to pull it out like a nail, and he pulls it out, and he goes, uh-oh, because now it's broke off. And he goes, don't worry, I've got a knife. And so he closes the pliers part, and he pulls out a knife, and he starts digging this out, but he moves it every time he touches it. And I peed a little, it wasn't a lot. It ain't no shame, guys, sometimes it hurts bad and you pee a little. And so anyway, it wasn't the leg he had up either, so it was all good. And so anyway, he's doing like this, and he's moving it, and every time he grabs it, it just breaks. He said, we're going to have to go to the house. I said, okay. He goes, are you going to walk? I said, are you going to be stupid? I'm getting on my horse. I ain't walking anywhere. So I get up on this colt, and I am actually praying now, God, whatever happens in my life for the rest of my life, do not let this horse buck me off with a 4-inch lance in my foot. So I make it back to the house, and I tie the colt up, and today's training has suddenly turned into, we are going to soak the horse and let him learn how to stand there the rest of the day. God has a funny way of training horses. So anyway, we tied him up right there and everything, and I kind of peg-legged it into the house. And Ralph said, I got to thinking about something. And I said, what? And he goes, it's going to hurt when we take your boot off. I said, you think? He goes, no, I know it is. This is great. He was a sadistic man. So anyway, he had to break the thorn off in my foot in order to get my boot off. So now I don't have that much left in there. But Kathy, his wife, walks in there and brings in like this surgical equipment that he would use to perform a C-section on a cow to get this thorn out of my foot. And I'm like, good grief, Ralph, what are you going to do? You cut my leg off? He goes, if it has to be, we got to get it out. Kathy looked at me and she goes, I'll be there for you for anything, but I can't be here for this. I've watched him do this. You'll probably never walk again. I was like, good grief. Ralph said, trust me. I was like, okay. The only thing tender about that man is when he said, this is going to hurt like hell. And it did, but he got it out. Took me 12 staples and 3 emergency room visits. No, not really. He got it out. But he was, he didn't do it like your mama does, like picking at it with a needle. He made an X incision about this long, whack, whack, and then peeled it open and reached in and grabbed it and goes, "It's over now." It still hurts. So he sprayed it with some betadine and stuff, and then I peed down the other leg. It's okay to soil yourself every now and then. You can get through that. You can public speak and everything. Nothing's embarrassing anymore. But you know what? There's another fella in the Bible that had a thorn too, and his name was Paul. In 2 Corinthians, Paul says, "Therefore, in order to keep me from becoming conceited, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me. But he said to me, 'My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness.' Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties, in peeing down my leg." It doesn't say that. "For when I am weak, I am strong." Even Paul, who saw Jesus face to face, asked for the thorn in his flesh to be removed, and Jesus said, "My grace is sufficient." You don't worry about that anymore. Are you getting beat down and throat punched by the storms and thorns in life? God's wish is for us to rely on him for everything, not just the easy stuff.